Hello, beautiful people, and good morning, and welcome to ESPN College Game Day live from Miami Gardens, Florida. Miami had joined the ACC back in 2004. That's interesting.
we got to do a great job not letting anything get in the way of us doing our job, right? You know, noise is noise. It's all about who's going to execute the best, right? Who's going to hang on to the football. Ball security is paramount in college football. Sustaining drives, understanding that in rivalry games, you're never all the way out of it and never all the way secure in it. You just got to keep going. No clock, no scoreboard. Sound familiar, right? Sounds familiar. Until the clock strikes zero. So just keep going and play your ass off.
One play at a time, obviously a great mission statement for tonight's game. I would like to say that what you guys have done for us, my show, this show, all of us, has been absolutely incredible. We are so thankful for the hospitality. So thankful. And on that note, I asked you, I asked Cam, I asked President Joey from the Bronx, I said, what do we need to experience? He said, and you told me, need the coffee. So I think it's cafecito time.
Cafecito time.
Oh, cafecito time. Cafecito time. What does this mean? I'm saying coffee time?
This is high octane rocket fuel right here. I've had this too much for Coach. This might be too much for you as well, but thank you very much.
What is this? This is espresso?
This is, well, you could call it that.
Cuban coffee.
You want to give a toast?
They got like a matcha flavor though.
Yeah, because
Here's Mario, as we have a toast, you said you wanted this place, Hard Rock, to be an asylum tonight. What do they need? Can this feel remote an asylum?
To gratitude for opportunity, to the relentless pursuit for Hurricane Excellent, and making a damn asylum tonight.
I got white pants. Hell yeah, an asylum tonight. Cafecito time. Hurricane football time. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate the help.
Thank you very much, Mario. Right. Head coach of the Hurricanes taking on Florida tonight. Can we do Cafecito time again later on in the show? I'd like to do that again. That's delicious. Old Crimson, 324th consecutive college game day appearance. They played Washington today. You know, the Huskies bowed down to Wazoo last year, but that was with John Mateer when he led the Cougars to win. Cougars stopped John Coleman right on the goal line, and they'll renew the hostilities today. The 117th Apple Cup. Washington has won 4th straight in Pullman. That's where they'll be. And I'll tell you what, Washington very quietly has some serious offensive weapons. We also have Hampton versus Howard, the battle for the real HU. Howard has won 8 straight in the series. Does that sit well at home, Desmond?
It does. Wife is very happy about that.
And alumnus, I believe, the Iron Skillet they'll play for SMU and TCU. And unfortunately, this is the last one that's scheduled. But with Josh Hoover, Kevin Jennings, you got to expect that we're going to see some offense when they battle on ESPN2 right after College Game Day. North Carolina State and Duke. Blue Devils have won 4 of the last 5 meetings behind former Hurricane head coach Manny Diaz. Darian Mensah, 3rd in the nation, nearly 350 yards per game passing, but the Pack has gotten off to a great start there, unbeaten. And Oregon State won at the 29th meeting. They will at least pull into a temporary tie for the 2nd most played rivalry at the highest level of college football behind Minnesota and Wisconsin. Don't forget the Ducks take on Penn State. Figures to be their first test. It is certainly Penn State's first test. In this game against Oregon State, the Ducks are a 5-touchdown favorite. But sometimes you can drag the record books to the recycle folder when you're talking about a rivalry. Odds makers matter far, far less than that burning desire inside of you to take a sip from a little brown jug, to expectorate into an old brass spittoon. Heck, I know a man, a grown man, who once slept in his bed with the old oaken bucket after his team won that. But for all of these eclectic treasures that stir the soul, Ryan McGee tells us that one is improbable and more elusive than some of the others, the Platypus Trophy.
ooh,
Oregon State. After more than 131 years, the game formerly known as the Civil War is at a crossroads. It no longer has its old name. It no longer has its old conference. It's a rivalry, suddenly in search of an identity that for decades was also missing something else. Or so we thought.
It's one of the oldest rivalries in college football, but you don't have a trophy. And so that's a low-hanging fruit column. So immediately after, I file the column, email pops up, Warren Spady, hey, there is a trophy, I sculpted it.
Meet Platty, the platypus trophy, and meet Spady, as in Warren Spady, the artist.
Okay, fire away.
Good.
First of all, I don't think of myself as an artist. I think of myself as a sculptor. The idea was not mine.
In late fall 1959, the Beavers and Ducks commissioned the platypus trophy. Spady, an Oregon art student, chose Oregon maple as his medium, sculpting 7 days a week for a month, right up to kickoff.
I decided I'll put the platypus in mud. And if I have time, I'll clean that mud off the feet. They already had a chance because they lost. The trophy went to Oregon State.
The trophy was stolen back by angry Oregon students, sparking a succession of so many heists that after only 3 years, the platypus wound up nesting secretly out of sight for decades. And as all platypi do, the trophy had run to water.
In 1986, I am at the University of Oregon on the swimming pool, and there's a trophy. I look at that and say, what the heck is that doing in there?
The water polo team had it for a few years, and then it disappears again.
In 2005, it turned up in a gymnasium closet in Eugene. The schools never bothered to restore its formal status. But by 2007, their alumni associations were unofficially passing it to the winner of the annual contest.
My understanding is it's just this weird mishmash animal, but I'm no zoologist.
I actually am a zoologist. My name is Dr. Katie Everson. I'm an assistant professor here at Oregon State University in the integrative biology department, and I study animal hybridization. But this is a real platypus specimen, over 100 years old. So the platypus has a very beaver-like tail. It has a bill that is just full of electrosensing organs. As it's going around, its eyes are closed, its ears are closed, and it's using that bill to try to find things under the rocks to eat. It has a weird hodgepodge of features.
It's just a duck and a beaver. It's middle ground.
We're lucky, I think, that our schools have two animals that could combine like that. It's got the front end of a duck and the back end of a beaver.
They would think that way, but in Beaverland, that back half has a tail that you don't want to mess with.
It's an interesting trophy, to say the least. But I'll say this, we won it, so let's go get it.
Dan Lanning echoing the old words of Coach K. If they're giving out a trophy, we want it. Oregon's going to try to get it and wear these shoe duck uniforms inspired by the cover of Phil Knight's book about Nike's founding shoe dog. It features, among other things, the Oregon motto, Minds Move Mountains. Features the profile of a couple mountains, Mount Hood outside of Portland and Mount Fuji in Japan. Sometimes it moves a mountain to be undefeated, and other times you wind up untested. Our great researcher, Marissa Dowling, came up with this Venn diagram. Now, the ones that overlap in the middle, we decided they're kind of tested, sort of tested a little bit. But there are a lot of them, including Oregon over there, and certainly including their opponent next week, Penn State, who are undefeated and untested. But among these unbeaten teams, whether tested or untested, Desmond, who is it that intrigues you out of this group?
I would have to go with the Oregon Ducks. I think their quarterback, Dante Moore, is playing at a very high level right now, completing 78% of his passes, 7 touchdown passes, and only 1 interception. He's spreading the ball around. He's playing very efficiently, and I think their defense is one of the best defenses, too, in the conference. Now, obviously, they're going to have to play Penn State next week. Penn State is going to be coming off of a bye. That's going to be a big matchup. But shout out to Oregon. Shout out to Phil Knight. They're going to honor him today, too.
Yeah, well, Oregon's done a great job of retooling.
Yeah.
They lost a lot of players from last year, but, the team that I'm really impressed with is Texas A&M. Marcel Reed has done a fantastic job. I mean, to go to Notre Dame, having played them for years and years and years, being at Michigan State, a big rivalry game, that's a hard place to win. And to go in there and have the mental toughness to be able to sustain, come back in the game and win the game, it speaks a lot about the character competitive character of this team. And if Marcel Reed stays healthy, they're going to be hard to beat.
That's a good one. Me being the only one to pick Texas A&M last week against Notre Dame was literally a surprise to me. I thought we all were going to really like Mike Elko with another year. Feels like that's paying off. And Notre Dame faced a very good team. Another good team that you have to stay up for, Cal. They have, I know Mateer is obviously in the conversation. Sala Politelli might be the best quarterback in the country. He is 18 years old. He's out of Hawaii. He's 6'3", 205. He can move. He has a 3.75 GPA. He went to Oregon, obviously. When he committed to Cal, they went to Oregon. They went back to Cal. He's late-night must-watch television. He is so good. With their schedule, there's a chance they win the All-Coast Conference as well.
You know, Missouri's getting a lot of recognition, a lot of talk about the quarterback. But I think they got pieces around the quarterback that I think make them a real team. They'll get a test today. USC, kind of been off the radar. That'll change. They play Michigan State. You know, now they're getting into conference play. They're at Illinois, so we'll find out if USC's for real. Team that I think is interesting is Georgia Tech. They've already beaten Clemson. They went to Colorado and won. I think they're going to be favored every game they have left, with the exception of the last game at the end of the year when they have Georgia. But Georgia